I'm not a big chrome, aluminum, shiny type guy. So, because they are metal, I'm thinking I'm gonna probably have these powder coated some type of black. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ryan and I have a 2008 Gen 4 Dodge Viper, and there was a factory option for like a door sill plate. Well, the problem with that, I went and ordered them. Perfect, fine, no problems. But I didn't like the look of it. So they come like a luminous silver color. Absolutely hate that. I'm trying to, pretty much anything silver on the car, I prefer it to be black. So when I had the wheels powder coated, I had him powder coat the door sills as well, or the panels, and they look phenomenal. So here they are. He did them in a wrinkle finish with the same color, the Saratoga blue, as our inset for the Viper logo. So I know 95% of the time you won't actually see these, but once you actually open up the door, because it goes in that little side sill part, so when you open the door, these will make it stand out and just give it a little bit of detail. And that's what I really love, is just little custom touches like this. But not only does it look good, I feel like it offers some protection as well. So, because when getting in and out of the Viper, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So you kind of have to like throw your leg over the giant side sill, because that's where the exhaust and everything is run. So it's very apt to scratch your paint. So with these little panels, hopefully if anything's gonna get scratched, it'll be this. But powder's pretty durable, so it should hold up to people, especially passengers, getting in and out, potentially rubbing their feet, kicking this. So, and if anything, these can always be redone, a whole lot cheaper than painting the car. So we're going to prep the car, prep our panels, and then the screws, it comes with the needed hardware, but they're actually silver, and that'll stick out like a sore thumb, because there's the only points of attachment. There are 3 little holes at the top of this panel. So with this hardware being silver, it just won't look right against the black. So I'm gonna spray paint the hardware black, so that way it'll just blend more. But got a little prep work before we can throw these on. So you can tell the portion that it's gonna cover. So we're going from this crack to that crack, and then there's just 3 screws, and that's it. But I don't know if you can tell on camera, you can kind of see there's a giant scratch already where a passenger, oh yeah, there you go. There was a passenger that clearly probably dragged their feet and scratched it up a little bit. So scratches like that is what I'm trying to avoid. So with these panels, not only do you get some style points, but you get the protection as well. Our kit came with like these provided silver screws, and that's just the problem, is they're silver. So up against the black sill plate, they'll stand out horribly. So what I'm actually gonna do is paint these black. So I've got like some leftover spray paint. Says it adheres to metal, so that's perfect. But so we'll just hit it with this. I mean, it won't take much. And then honestly, probably if I need to touch it up, I could probably use a Sharpie after the fact. But we're gonna take a little trick. So I've got a piece of poster board, and gigantic, I don't need all this, but I'll cut it down, and then what I'm actually gonna do is stick these screws through the poster board, so that way it doesn't actually paint the threads, because all we want painted is just the top of the screw. That's my little trick. Just poke them through this cardboard, so that way when I spray paint, it's only gonna spray paint the head, just like we want. Gonna go ahead and spray paint our screws black. They'll have plenty of time to dry, because I wanna go ahead and prep those panels, get our 3M tape laid out, so that way by the time get all the prep work done, our screws will be nice and dry. Always end up a little heavy-handed when I paint, but hopefully this way, one nice thick one coat and we should be done. I know that's such a minor detail, but I think in the long run, those black screws will just make it look perfect. Our side sill panels when I bought them like from factory, they actually come already pre-taped up. It's got 3M tape on the back already, but with the powder coating process, once you throw the powder on it, you have to throw it in the oven. So the 3M tape had to come off. So I've just picked up some more, and we're gonna prep this really well. So what I'm gonna do is take alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, and just clean the back of this surface, because we want a nice clean surface to make sure the 3M tape will actually adhere to it really well. So half the battle is in the prep work. So I'm gonna clean this up really good, and then we'll lay, I'm probably just gonna kind of outline like a nice, I mean, it's not a rectangle, but a little outline the edges, and then probably put like one strip down the middle. So, because I mean, it's not really, there's not much holding on. It's just those three screws and then our 3M tape. So it's more just to make sure like it just kind of doesn't flap around a little bit. So don't need too much, so I won't go overkill, but just enough to stick. At this point, panels are prepped, ready to be put on. So let's run out in the garage and actually prep the door sills themselves. Now that our screws are painted and got our 3M tape laid up here, now is actually time to prep the car itself. So what I'm gonna do is just take rubbing alcohol and clean up that painted piece, and then we'll be able to throw these on. I got the 3 factory screws removed, and as I was removing them, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe that actual painted panel is separate from the whole side sill, because like when I started removing the screws, it started like pulling up slowly, so kind of scared me. But because then I was thinking, does it actually fully replace, like you take the painted part out and then put like the new like metal textured one on top or in place of it? But no, it just sits over top of it, so we're good to go. It's got me a little nervous for putting the new one on, just because like it's got to sit up underneath like the rubber seal, so it's kind of got a wedge up under that. And I mean, the sticky tape or whatever, that double-sided tape, it's gonna want to, you know, stick quick. So in order to get it lined up perfectly, I'm gonna have to be very surgical, very careful. So let's see how it goes. One side down, and honestly I don't know why it didn't really come like with something black like that. Maybe I guess if you have a different color interior other than like black, I don't know, but to me it was just when you open the door, because the side seals are so big, it was just too much blue, like it just looked empty. So now with the side seal, like the texture one, like, oh, it just looks perfect. Now it just looks way more complete. Like I said, it's got kind of that factory look to it, but if you know, you know. And like I said, 90% of the time you won't ever see it, because it's only when you get in and out of the vehicle, but when you do, looks good. An install actually wasn't as bad as I was thinking, because I was so afraid with all the tape on there that it was gonna get hung up, and just, once it got hung, then you're kind of screwed. You gotta lay it where it wants to go, but it's kind of nice. I'll show you on this one for example, but you'll notice at the top here, there's kind of that lip. So what you're able to do is kind of feed that lip underneath the rubber seal, and then there's no tape at that point, so you kind of are able to align it left and right, and you kind of dip it down just a little bit, so that way you can see where your screw holes are and make sure they're kind of lined up, like eyeball it. And then by the time you go to lay it down, you know 100% whether those screw holes are going to line up. But so it's not bad at all. I was actually very impressed, because I was a little nervous because I don't want to get it offset and then my screws not go in and then it'd be stuck and have to start all over and take the tape off and redo. So not a big deal. It is a touch off. I don't think it's me though. I think it's just like the panel itself, and I'll show you that. This is just me being a little nitpicky but there's just, you can see it just a little bit of blue overhang. I mean, it's not bad at all. Most people probably won't even notice, but it's one of those things that, like, because I know it's there, it'll kind of stick out to me. But other than that, she fits really good. Didn't have that problem at the front because I think it's shifted up a little bit, but since our screws lined up, I mean, that's kind of naturally where it wants to fall. So I just got a little bit of extra blue at the back. Here's our true test though. Will the door close with the panel in place? Let's give it a try. Hopefully don't hear any scraping or anything bad, any bad noises, anything like that. Solid. Didn't hear any scraping, so we're good. I gave it a few more tests, open and close, just to make sure there is 100% no rubbing and not gonna scratch this plate at all or anything like that, but it's solid. So I mean, I know it should be, but it's one of those things, if something's off just a little bit, you know, it could cause it to rub and scratch our plate and rub that powder down. So I'm proud of the way the passenger side came out. So now let's see if I can replicate that same work on the driver's side. I don't know if the passenger side instills so much confidence in me that the driver's side went 10 times smoother, but I didn't even have to use like my little test screws. I was able to get it lined up perfectly. And this side, I'm actually more proud of because there isn't that overhang like on the other side. And again, the other side's not bad. It's just, it's gonna irk me just a little bit just because I know it's there. But for whatever reason, like, she just slid into place perfectly on this side, so I couldn't ask for any better. And then I've done my test opening and close of the door, and we're money. There's absolutely zero rub, anything like that. So done, easy. It's so nice when an install goes smoothly. Luckily these door sill plates, they aren't that difficult, but they turned out phenomenal. I think they really set the interior of the car off, and I really want to give a big shout out to SCP Powder Coating. So he did a phenomenal job. Both of these colors, again, the Viper insert matches the wheels, so it's a Saratoga blue from Prismatic Powders, and then what I've been calling the wrinkle black is actually splatter black, is the official name of it from Prismatic Powders. But I'll make sure to link both of them below. But I really appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.